Hello, there we go. I'm sorry, a few seconds late. How are you? It's really been a exciting, interesting week, and I'm glad to see you. Glad to see you all here again. It's Shabbos, just about Shabbos. We don't do this on Shabbos, and I want to wish you a wonderful Shabbos. It's Shabbos is a great day. Shabbos is as much or as little as you observe in it, but what you get is a tremendous reservoir where to draw energy, inspiration, and time for reflection. And we're going to do a little bit of that this evening. But before I do that, I want to apologize that Matt will not be able to be with us tonight. Unfortunately, he had a loss in his family, and my last-minute replacement was not able to connect technically. So I'm not going to say that I'm going to do the song because I'm not. We'll have our conversation, and hopefully when we resume our sermons, we will bring back Matt Muttel, and we wish him and his family a comfort of a makom yenachem eschem, that God should comfort them on the loss of his bubby. His bubby passed away, and they should only know of joy. Matt's brought a lot of joy to a lot of us over the last few weeks, so we want to reciprocate that prayer and blessing to him. Also, this evening's sermon is dedicated in memory of Lina Bas Shimon. Lina is the mother of a very good friend of ours, David Weiss. And every year on Yahrzeit, we get together, we learn. In the Minyan, we say Kaddish. But this year, we were not able to do that. So we will dedicate today's sermon in her honor and her memory. So, my dear friends, let me start with a little joke. And I ask all the wives of the doctors to forgive me, or all the doctors to forgive me for what I'm going to share. But it's a good lesson, and I'm sure this doesn't happen to many of you. But what happens in a typical home of a doctor, on call, crazy hours, barely has family time during the week. And Friday night, finally, the wife was hoping that her husband, Joe, would come home. It was a light day. He calls his wife, honey, I'm going to be home early tonight, 4:00, a few patients. I'll be right there. I can't wait. And in fact, Joe shows up, 4:00. He's home. His wife is just amazed. Well, it must have been a good week, and now they're able to enjoy the night and have a dinner together with the kids. And as she's setting up the table, ring, Joe gets a phone call. Uh-oh. She knows that story too many times, and her eyes start to roll, and Joe gets serious. And on the other line is a doctor, a friend of his. He said, hey, Joe, are you available? He said, yeah, what's up? He says, well, me, Mike, and George are here on the golf course, and we need a fourth to finish the foursome. Are you available? Joe thinks a minute, says, yeah, I'll be right over. His wife asks, wow, what happened? Joe says, I don't know, but there are 3 physicians on the location already. And I like this. This is a lesson, because this is a lesson of context, that sometimes our mind looks at certain things a certain way, and then automatically associates it with a certain idea. So 3 physicians on the scene must be an emergency, although, as we know in this story, it wasn't. And I want you to remember this lesson. I'm going to bring this up a little bit during the sermon. So, what do I want to talk about today? It's been an intense few days for me personally, for Jews around the world, as we commemorated the Yahrzeit of the Rebbe. The Rebbe passed away 26 years ago, and literally thousands of Jews around the world paid tribute and prayed on this special day. In fact, I think a record was broken. Over 100,000 people participated in a 24-hour Zoom commemorative event that was going on throughout the entire day in all locations of the world, and it broke a record. 100,000 people connected in one such project, and it wasn't a march anywhere. It was a commitment of connecting spiritually with one another. So I want to reflect that I may be one of those 100,000 people, but I want to share my thoughts, what was going through my mind, because I spent the last, I'd say 72 hours before the yard site, which was Thursday, today, what does the Rebbe mean to me? What does the Rebbe mean to the world? And as I'm going through the thoughts, I'm reflecting on everything that I have studied personally from the Rebbe through his teachings. And while I was fortunate to be able to hear lessons and teachings from him directly, I had this double feeling. On one hand, I felt this huge void. The Rebbe wasn't with us physically for 26 years. And there's a certain element of leadership that is lacking in the world today. And with this void and sadness, I felt an uplifting feeling that despite this physical void, how fortunate I have been to be able to benefit from the light of his teachings. And I use the word light very specifically, as you'll soon see. So at the one hand, there's a certain darkness of an absence, and on the other hand, there's a certain presence of a very strong light. And I was trying to define this double feeling that I had inside of me. And of course, I look to our Parsha. As we've been constantly repeating it throughout our sermons, that the Torah is a timeless document with timely messages. Because the stories in Torah, although they occurred at a certain time in history, consistently talk to us when we need to hear the message. Only an infinite wisdom of God can put infinite time into a timely message. What is this week's Torah portion about? This week's Torah portion talks about one of the first mass protests that took place against leadership. And it was Korach who was leading his people into a demonstration, a rebellion of sort, against the leadership of Moses. And he asks some very, very important questions. Something that we hear in other ideas that are going through different protests that are going on today. And he goes to Moses. Korach was a leader amongst the Jews as well. He says, Moses, what makes you special? Lamatis nasu. Why are you elevated over the entire people? What makes you feel special? And then you choose your brother Aaron to be the high priest? Some nepotism here? Why? You and I, we're all the same. We're all equally created by God. What sets you apart that you have the ability to be a leader amongst us instead of one amongst us? And this obviously raised a lot of sentiment amongst the entire Jewish people because, we're all equal. What makes Moses and Aaron different than us? And guess what? Moses answers. And Moses tells him, that is a great question. And you are absolutely right. We are all equal. What makes me different apart from you is because God chose me for a certain mission. And God chose Aaron for a certain mission. And he didn't say these words, but as you take this, and guess what? This logic is, you were chosen for a special mission. And so was the other person chosen for a special mission. See, what Moses was trying to tell them is we can be equally important, but equally individual in our mission. So although our mission is equally important and one human being is never superior than another human being, we are all equally created by God. But that doesn't mean we don't have different responsibilities. And the responsibilities aren't the ones that I made. God chose me for a certain responsibility, in this case, to lead the Jewish people. In Aaron's case, to lead the service in the sanctuary. So we are equal, and we equally have an important mission which separates us one from the other. Very powerful and important message, especially in our times these days. But there's something else I want to share. There's the language that Moshe uses in his discussion with Korach is interesting, because Korach comes in a rebellion and Moses doesn't respond to him right away. Moses says, chill. Not exactly that word, but kind of chill, relax. Come tomorrow morning and we will see what will happen. And you will realize that I'm not different than you, but this is who God chose to do a particular message, a particular mission. And what was the words that Moshe uses is Boker v'yoda, in the morning, and you will know. Come back next morning and you will know. And commentary asks, why did Moses have to postpone this conversation? He could have said the same message right then and there. And there's certain commentaries that explain because he wanted to have everyone relax and cool down. It will give them an opportunity to maybe rethink their position and do teshuvah, repent, because in a sense they're rebelling against God's choice of him, and everything will kind of simmer down. Boker, sleep on it. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Another explanation is because he was telling them that Boker, you're going to go through a night and the sun will rise and there'll be a morning. And that's nature. And just like God fixed these rules into nature in how the world will function, it's the same God who fixed missions into every individual equally. But everyone has a mission. My leadership, I didn't ask for. I didn't create. It's a mission that God has given me, equal to a mission that God has given you. Boker, you'll see the same way there are rules in nature, there are rules in how we live our mission. But the Rebbe asks a question. If that was the lesson, to teach them about the laws of nature, there are many laws of nature. Just like a tree grows, that's how we grow with our mission. I mean, it could have been a lot of natural phenomena that he could have chosen that God has placed into this world. What is it about the morning? And this is what Moshe was trying to say. There's night and there's day. Everything that you see in this world during the day was there during the night. Everything exists during the day and the night. So what's the difference? The difference is during the day, the sun shines, so you can appreciate what you have during the day. And during the night, you may not be aware of what you have. So the only difference between night and day is that what you have is exposed and becomes obvious and becomes evident. And this is what Moshe was trying to teach Korach, and through Korach, all of us, about what is true leadership in Judaism. Jewish leaders, an authentic Jewish leader, doesn't look for followers. An authentic Jewish leader doesn't look for you to submit to them. It's not about submission. In fact, a great leader makes the connection between you and God and gets out of the way. The more a leader makes it about them, the less it is about leading you. A leader is just there to shine the light on who you are, to allow you to lift yourself up, not to become like your leader, but to become who you really are. And this is what Moshe was trying to tell Korach. I'm not greater than you. I'm just given the ability by God to allow you to understand what you really can be. Because in fact, as a human being, we are all equal to God. And this, my sense, this, my friends, is what the Rebbe really was to me personally and to millions of Jews, to generations of Jews now. A shining light, exposing the truths of Torah for the Jews to be able to find that spirituality that they need. Exposing the truths of Torah so you can understand your purpose in this world. Exposing the presence of God to you and I, to all of us, so we can feel that connection to God. Boker, it's about shining a light. It's about letting you reach your true potential. I want to conclude with a story and then a final action item, we'll call it. There's once this individual, now when the Jews in Russia were not able to practice the religion, so the Rebbe would always send people there, undercover, so to speak. They would bring Jewish artifacts, they would bring Jewish material to them, and people would be able to then observe Torah mitzvahs, so have a siddur, they'll have tefillin, Shabbat candles, whatever they would need, they would have. One of these individuals came back to the Rebbe once after he was on the secret mission, and the Rebbe would receive people very late at night. That's the way it was. And he came back and gave the Rebbe a report. And he gave the Rebbe a report, and it was a very, very, let's say, depressing, right? Because the situation there wasn't good. And he says that every time he gave the Rebbe a negative report, because the Rebbe wanted to know the truth, no sugarcoating, he saw the Rebbe was feeling the pain of those Jews more and more, identifying with them and really becoming sad and serious. And he didn't know what to do, but he needed to continue to report. And this went on for hours. The Rebbe would ask for every detail when it came to these situations. Then he says it was so late at night that it was already morning. He started to see the sunshine. And he says the Rebbe noticed the sunshine, and all of a sudden his mood changed. And he told him, noch hatag, it's a new day. Meaning that this was all the darkness, but the new day to bring in light, new opportunity to bring in light. And this is what the Rebbe does for us. Boker. The morning is there not to teach us anything that is not to create anything that's not there, but to expose for you and I and all of us what is there, the truth of your heritage, the truth of your purpose, and the objective of your life. And this is a deeply spiritual experience, because although there is this void, but there's this shining light, the shining light that gives us the context of what life is about, even in the darkest of times. And therefore, I want to invite every one of you to taste what I have tasted, to absorb this light, to shine in your life like it does in mine, to encourage you to live your life to your fullest, to the utmost, the way it encourages me. And therefore, I want you to go onto our, when you have a chance, jewishcenter.info/Rebbe. It's kind of a central page where you can learn a lot more about the Rebbe. But I want to be very clear. It's not about learning about the Rebbe. It's not about learning about the Rebbe's life, although it's a very interesting story and inspiration. It's about drawing from the Rebbe's teachings into your life. It's about trying to find the guidance and the clarity and the context so that we can associate things in a proper way that helps fulfill our mission and lift us up in a very meaningful way. It doesn't happen overnight, but the more we're able to read and glean from the Rebbe's teachings, we really feel what a true leader does. Connects you to your creator, to your soul, and to your purpose. And that is very special. And that's a great gift that we have. And it's a great gift that I'd like to share with you. So I want to wish you a good Shabbos. But I want to, before I sign off, I want to give you a little bit of an, not an announcement, but just a programming announcement. And that is that it's been 3 months now since we've been meeting and gathering together online almost every day from when the stay-at-home orders were placed, except for a few days during the Passover celebration, and unfortunately this last Thursday. Every day we met, we connected, we learned, and for me personally, it's been an incredible journey. It's been an incredible experience. As I mentioned earlier on, it took me out of my box. It took me out of my comfort zone. I never imagined that I'd be doing YouTube live videos, Facebook videos. An introvert and shy person like me, and I know what you're all thinking, but trust me, an introvert and shy person like me, I never imagined I'd be doing this and enjoying it because of the connection that we're created. 3 straight months we've been doing this every day. Today we're entering the green phase. Things are changing, people's schedules are changing. I know my morning schedule is changing because we're having a day camp next week, and I need to be on call 8:30 exactly when we do our show and our broadcast. And a lot of people are going away next week. It's the July 4th weekend. So I figured that next week will be the right time to take a break of our programming and rethink how we're going to move forward. Times in the morning that would help. What would be the right format? We're not leaving because I know how meaningful this is to so many of you. And the last inspiration from the Rebbe's yard site would be to do something less. but we do need to adapt to the times. And if everybody's schedule is different, and hopefully it will continue to go that way, and God forbid not return, so we need to adjust and we need to adapt. But I need your help to do that. So there's two things I want to let you know. Number one is you can always go to the recordings. We have recordings of all the classes we've had till now. Listen to the stories, the ideas, the insights. I'm still there virtually, but it won't be live. But everything is recorded neatly on this website, jewishcenter.info/recordings. But do me a personal favor. Send me an email. I want to know what these lessons and this time we spent together meant for you, how it was able to help you through these times. And more importantly, how do you see this going forward? What would you like to hear online? Maybe we should change it up. Instead of stories and big ideas, I have some thoughts of other ideas, but let me know. Give me some feedback. Let me know what's going on, how this helps you, how it continues to help you, although your schedules may be changing. We're all getting a little busier, thank God. And what kind of topics would you like to hear? And I'm going to take the next week, I'm not taking off. I'm going to use this time to be able to restructure our online learning sessions, which will continue. I just want to figure out what's the best way for it to happen. But as I said before, please send me the email. You can still go online and get our recordings. With all that said, I still owe you guys one. And because of a last-minute change in my schedule, I wasn't able to do the Thursday class. So I'm going to have a Monday morning class. We're going to go that meaningful story, and then we will take this time to consider how we move forward. But from now, have a wonderful Shabbos. It's Shabbos, as I said, is a great time. Avail yourself of all the incredible resources that we have online, jewishcenter.info/Rebbe, great page, and start to absorb that message. We as a Jewish people have a great gift in the Rebbe's teachings. Make it personal and make it meaningful, and have a great Shabbos.